Hello, this is episode 8.4, and like I kept, and I will keep repeating, um, this episode is an age 8 or the age between 7 and then me turning 8, and what progressed in that is absolutely my favorite age in my childhood years, the elementary school years. It was my absolute favorite. So many other. I talked about how my youngest Pinny, my Banu Pinny, got married, and that was my absolute favorite wedding. So we had that family. We had like my Babai and his family. We got acquainted with them. Then in some prior episodes, I also talked about how my oldest Atya had come to visit, and she had a tiny baby who was either born in India or who was just born in US and brought to India. That was the previous couple of years ago. Then, of course, my cousins were born from my second aunt, and of course my youngest uncle got married, and my youngest Attaya, my Rajattaya, she came into the family, and again with we came to know other people like her family and their house, and my Banupini's house and their family. So suddenly I think that year maybe it's my favorite year because we just expanded, of course the circle expanded, our circle of who we knew, who we were related to expanded so much, like almost tripled in size in just that one year. so so that's why I think it's my favorite year, and we used to have a lot of fun with them. The other reason why it's my favorite year is my dad, it had been a year since he had joined this new company called Herbert Sons, and he was doing very, very, very well in his job. So, like I told you, like the company even gave him his own car. It was like an olive greenish Premier Padmini, and then this year, what they also did is they also gave him his own chauffeur, like driver. And he was an older gentleman, maybe around 72, 70, 68, between 62, 68, 72 years of age. And his name was Hussein. And until then, my dad used to just drive the car. He used to take his car in the morning, come back in the evening. We didn't really have access to the car. But with Hussein, he was with us. He left my dad at, he left me at school. He dropped me at school and then dropped my dad at work and then came home. Even during the summer vacations, he'd come home. And then we'd go, if my mom, since she worked in the academia, she used to be off during the summer. So we'd go, my mom was big into making sure that the children and the baby was small, but we'd still go to some outings. It was really nice. So around this time, my dad, in the beginning of my 8th year, us as a family, my dad had some business to do in Visakhapatnam. So he said, why don't you all also come along, and I'll finish what I need to do, and then you can all we can have a mini vacation. So by that time, and my dad was and my whole family was unlike back in the day when Indian families really didn't vacation much. My family was very much into vacations. So even if my mother traveled for work or my dad traveled, they would try to take the rest of the family, along with them. Or sometimes we would just vacation, just a vacation. We would not, it was not work related. So by the time, I turned 8, we had already made a big trip to Delhi. We stayed there like for a week, saw everything. And we'd also visited Indore because my mom had a conference there. And so we all went there as a family. When my father's friend, who was a wing commander in Bidar, he was posted in Bidar, we all went to Bidar. Of course, where I had the fiasco, one of my major accidents. I didn't have too many accidents in life, touch wood. But that was one of my, big accidents that happened, where my fingers got stuck in the door. So we'd already gone there. So this was one more. So we went to, and we'd already also visited my mom's cousins in Ongole once. Ongole is kind of like I think it's by the beach. I think it's on the coast, or maybe a little interior. Yeah, I think it's a little interior. Rajahmundry is by a river, but I think Ongole is on the beach, or a little interior, 1 hour away drive from the beach, something like that. But anyway, we all visited there. All our, cousins, my aunts, everybody, we visited the previous year. So my family was big into taking vacations and, going places. So Vizag, we all went. I'll never forget that vacation, because that's the first time I actually, in my whole life, saw the ocean and the beach. My brother and I collected seashells, and I couldn't get enough of it. Every evening I would wait to go there, play with the waves. And in that visit was also, I realized that my mom was a big, safety risk, very careful about. She would be, my dad and brother would like keep going into the waves, and she'd always be very, like, she'd always say, no, 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 don't go inside, you'll drown, or something like that. And she's still like that. And even I am like that. Actually, I got that habit from her. With my kids, I'm like that. So she was always very careful, and I'm very thankful for that, because she taught me that, like, to be careful, like, walk carefully and watch where you're going, and don't slip and fall somewhere. So maybe that's why I didn't have too many accidents. Again, touch wood, I hope it doesn't happen now. But anyways, so that's the vacation I would remember. So from that point onwards, Vizag became, for many, many, many years, maybe even until today, one of my favorite towns, because that's the first time I saw the beach, and it was like very lovely, very fabulous. So during this time, what used to happen is, because right after my Pinny's marriage, I think immediately after, or maybe a few months after, or maybe he was already doing that. My Baba, I think, was doing like his MTech or Masters in IIT Madras. So my Pinny would always often go, sometimes with her friend, to visit him. Maybe often, but definitely once or twice she had gone. So I don't know which period that was, but anyway, she would not always be home. So because of all these marriages of my aunts and uncles, we used to have this like extended relatives. I wouldn't say they were family, but they were relatives, right? Because they were all their parents. My tataya, my grandfather, used to feel very comfortable. Like, he was big into every afternoon, like, he'd go visit a relative, he'd have lunch with them. Many times he would come to our house and have lunch, and then he'll take a nap, and then he'll go home. But my Amama was very active in the neighborhood. Wherever she was very active. She was very social. But somehow she didn't visit relatives too much. She didn't enjoy that for some reason. But the one relative that she did often visit and took me along, because many times summers I used to spend with her, was my tataya's older brother, and we used to call him Boiguda. They used to live in a place called Boiguda near Secunderabad. We used to call him Boiguda Pedanana. So Pedanana is, my tataya's older brother. Everybody used to call him Pedanana. He was actually my tataya, but we also used to call him Pedanana. So she used to go to their place. Like even my parents used to go many times in the car. If they were, they were on Tang Bund or something, they would stop. And the other place that my mama for some reason felt very comfortable visiting was my my Bhanupini's in-laws. She felt very comfortable visiting there. Sometimes we would visit them. And my youngest aunt, my Pinni's mother-in-law was, again, these are the eyes of, my, like my eyes, in my vision. So she was very different from the other ladies of her age. She must not have been very old. She must have been around my age then. But in my young kids' mind, these are all old people, right? Because they were like in-laws. They were my Pinni's in-laws. So in my mind, they were old people. They were not actually old, which is funny. So her mother-in-law, I used to find her very beautiful, and her whole family was very, very sophisticated, and everything, had a discipline, and you could see that. No, our family was very open and free birds, and we would talk loudly, and we would sometimes all be in the same bedroom, and but they had this nice whenever we visited. And I remember this was the first relative's house that was multi-storied. It had 2 stories. So definitely they were wealthy. And of course, my oldest Attaya's home, that was also 2 stories. Almost 2.5 actually. So we would go upstairs. They would, I think their daughter used to be downstairs, their daughter and her husband. Then we'd go upstairs. So as a kid, I used to be very curious, about, because their home was so clean and so prim and proper, and everybody in their family was so prim and proper. My Baba had an older brother. Sometimes he would return home, and as soon as he entered, everybody would stop talking, and they'd be like, "Shh, talk slowly." And so, and then he would come and he'd say hi to everybody, and then he'd go into the inside or into the bedroom. So I remember that everything was very prim and proper in their home. And I remember they had this sofa set, and that's the first time. Eventually we got it too, but I saw side tables, nesting tables, one table into the other, like that. So everything was very proper. They had a center table, and in the corner of the table, I remember this, I think there was like a brass or gunmetal soldier statue or some statue, like it was a very big statue in the corner. So, object of desire, I was like, oh, I always want, when I have my own house, I want a big statue like this. So I used to stare at that. But the one thing that everybody discovered, including my mother, in their house was, so when we visited, one of our first visits after my Pinny got married, and after, there was coming and going, we would go more often. My mother was also there. They'd invited us and they would always bring us coffee or tea. They were very hospitable also. And my Pinny's father-in-law was a very busy man. He was not always there. He used to come a little bit later in the evening or later at night. But the mother-in-law was always there, and she was like a malkin of the house. And that's the first time I heard the word Todi Kodalu. I had never heard that word before. Although in my family, my attayas were Todi Kodalu and all, but I never heard that word. Uh, so everybody in their family, all the women I used to find very beautiful. My pinnies, Thodikodalo, I used to find very beautiful. And especially my pinnies mother-in-law, she was very pretty. She was very beautiful. And she was more, I would say, very elegant. I'd never seen an embodiment of elegance until then, because like I said, in our family everybody was like a free bird, and how they talked and how they conversed, they were not like restrained and very elegant. It was very natural. She was not like putting on any of that, and very, very beautiful. She used to wear these lovely saris, and I used to, that's the first time I saw like where somebody's always like, dressed up. She'd never be dowdy or anything. She'd always be like wearing these exquisite saris and jewelry, and she had these like diamond studs, and she'd always be proper, nice bindi. So I used to find her very beautiful for in that generation. So, but coming back to, I digressed. Coming back to the first thing that even my mother and all of us saw is on one of those visits, they offered us coffee or tea. I think it was coffee. So there were all these like little stainless steel glasses, and then we thought, oh my God, it's so much. And then we were all like, oh no 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 no, like we don't want to drink so much. Let's pour, let's share, like. And my family was very like free for all, right? They'd be like, I'll take a sip and give you some, and let's share. Let this cut this in half, and we were all like very. And then she kept saying, no no no, it's not that much. It's a different kind of glass. It's not that much. But anyways, we drank it, and we took 2 sips and it was over actually. So they were actually steel glasses, but they were insulated. So the actual depth of it was only this like 1 inch, and the rest was just like insulation. So it was like a glass in a glass. It was like an insulated thing. So we all were like, as if, including the adults, including my mother, my grandmother, it really fascinated all of us. So we were behind this poor lady. Where did you buy it? We want to buy it. We want to buy it. And then she kept saying, okay, I think I don't know where I bought it, but I'll let you know. And wonder of wonders, I am still looking for those glasses. I still want to buy them. This is after like 40 years. I'm still looking for those. Couple of times I saw them, but I didn't purchase them in style. So even till today, every time I go to a steel shop, I look for these glasses, these insulated teak glasses. I found mugs, but they're not like, I mean, this one was literally like 1 inch deep, that's it. But the glass itself is like 3 inches. So we saw those. So that was one family like that, became our extended relatives. And the other family, of course, that was our extended relatives was my oldest Ataya's parents and their family. So around this time, my oldest Ataya, my Anu Ataya, came back for another visit. So this time my cousin, the baby Priya, like she was born, she was a baby in some of the older episodes. She was 2 years old. So my Attaya and we were all, and this was, I was about, just about 8, I think, like, or just about 7, going to turn 8, something like that. So, so I know, I think I was about definitely 8. So she invited between 7 and 8. I'm just talking out aloud. But anyways, so they invited us for, and it's interesting because today is actually Sankranti. They invited us for, my aunt's mom said, we are doing a bogi, and we're putting bogi pallu. Bogi pallu is they buy all these bear and coins, these like, these wild berries, and I think not gooseberries is amla, but anyway, bear. I don't know what the English word is for it. It's like berries. Those, and they mix it with flower petals and coins. And they have like kind of like a celebration where all the elders come and put it on the little babies and head. So it was explained to me. I never knew what bogipallu was. They did it for they started doing for my sister after this, but they never did it for me. So, or my brother, I don't think so either. So she said, we're putting bogipallu, so bring your kids also. So my mother was very excited, and she's like, she dressed up my sister and all that. And we went to their home. Okay. I was little bit I felt a little bit left out because I was already almost 8. So, and they told me they do it for little kids. But my older Ataya's mom was so nice. She was like, we made all the babies sit down. My cousin Priya was 2, and I think my cousin Saga was 4. My sister was, of course, just a baby. She was tiny. She was very much very tiny, like she just born. But then she goes, so you come and sit down too. And I was so thrilled because I didn't think that they'll do it for me also. And I was feeling a little left out. But I thought, okay, I'm older, they won't do it. And it was very nice of her. And she would keep saying it. And, until her final days, she never stopped saying this. She'd always say, you remind me of my Anu. Like my oldest Attaya's name is also Anu. So, and she would always say this whenever I went. And just to hear this, I would I would not, any conversation with her felt incomplete until I heard it. It'd be a big compliment to me. And I'll tell you why later. My oldest Attaya is sweet, very sweet, and a very, very high achiever in all respects. So it meant a lot to me. But more than that, she's very kind and delicate, and so I really admire her. So so they put those bogipallu. So a lot of nice things, family was expanding. And then the other thing that used to happen is in the evenings, my dad used to like to go on long drives. So sometimes he'd just make plans where he'd pick everybody up, all these newly married couples up, and we'll all go somewhere, on a long drive, not maybe for dinner, but, for ice cream or, or for games. Usually it was for ice cream. So I still remember this one incident where we picked up everybody and we went on a long drive. So my Pinny was there and her new husband, and my uncle was there, his new wife. So all my uncles and aunts were there. And of course my mother, my brother, myself. Picked up everybody and we went to, there's a restaurant, and it still exists actually in Hyderabad, but not in the same actually it does exist in the same spot also. It's Havmore, but now it's called Ori's. It used to be in Bashir Bagh, a place in Hyderabad. Back then it was just more or less an ice cream parlor, but they used to have some snacks. They used to have really good chole bhature, which my dad used to really like from that place. And they used to give these onions soaked in vinegar, and they used to get all this pink onion used to get even more pink. So that was, I've never had chole bhature like that ever again in my life. It's only, and that place still, I think they still have the same recipe, because even now when I have it, it tastes the same. And their ice creams, they've added more, but they still have those old ones. So we all sat down, and my babai and Pinny used to like tutti frutti ice cream a lot. I remember that used to be their favorite. And I think I used to like casata. My mom's favorite was always pista ice cream. So what they used to do is they used to have two kinds of ice creams. One is in a tall glass. There used to be one called Tall Beauty also. I think my youngest Attaya used to like that. They would put fruits or whatever, and it used to be more like a sundae actually, but they used to call it ice cream, and they put all that. So they used to have sundaes with fruit and nuts and cherry on top and all that, ice cream sundaes. But they would also have little, you know, slices, slabs, like little slices of ice creams. I used to like a cassata slice because it used to have three colors. It had a pistachio, vanilla, and strawberry. My mom would always take a pista. Sometimes I would take like there used to be another ice cream parlor in Nampally called Joy Ice Cream. My mom used to like that a lot. And over there in that Nampally ice cream, they used to have a Joy Choco Bar and they would have a Joy Milk ice cream. Uh, and kind of like and a third one which was like a gelato. So, anyways, that was a different location. This was a little bit more exclusive and kind of like little bit ups, not little bit, pretty upscale, very upscale back in those days. So we used to drive in the car, we sat in the car, and everybody ordered their thing. So my brother, he always wanted to be different. And he always wanted to do something hatke from everybody else. So everybody ordered what they liked. And then he said, I'll have a brick of strawberry ice cream. And I remember this incident like almost like a movie scene. And I remember that steward, and it was an upscale place. They used to wear like a nice like tuxedo kind of thing, and in that ice cream parlor, it was pretty upscale. It was not casual. So he goes, "Excuse me, sir. Like, what do you mean a brick?" So my brother would say, "I want to have a brick." Like, see, each of that slice itself, and this was an upscale place, was pretty expensive. It was like 7-8 rupees each slice, and those sundaes were like 12 rupees or something. Back then, that was expensive, very expensive actually, because to give you context, the choco bar was 2 rupees, and the milk bar in the Joy ice cream parlor was literally like 15 naya paisa. Okay, so it was expensive. Though, so imagine the whole brick. Brick is basically the whole slab with several slices, like that would be obtained for it had you cut it. How expensive that would have been. But he goes, I want a brick. Then the steward was like, no, we can't give you a brick. And my dad got very upset because my dad was the kind who wanted to indulge. If somebody said they wanted something, the kind of person he was, he got it for them. Like no ifs and buts. Like he used to spoil us silly. So my brother wanted a brick, he would have a brick. So then, first of all, it took a long time for the steward to understand what a brick was. He said there's no such thing. Then they called somebody from inside. Then he said, no, the whole thing from which these slices come, I want a brick of, the chocolate ice cream, brick. And many times when we used to go to these, like my brother would have eating contests with my babai or uncle, who would eat more or whatever. Once they had some mirchi bhaji eating contest or something like that. But anyway, he wanted a brick. And he said, no, sir, we can't give it to you. And then my dad got upset and he said, what do you mean nobody orders it? Then they said, no, that only for takeout we give it. Only for takeout. We don't serve it, sir. And my dad said, why couldn't you serve it? If I do a takeout and you'll sell it to me, then why wouldn't you serve it to me for in-house dining? Then I said, no, sir, it's only for takeout. We only have it for takeout. You have to order a takeout. And this incident embarrassed the heck out of me. I still remember my dad lost it. He lost his temper. And he said, okay, I will, use the bad word. He's like, I will bloody like sit outside and then order it. And then we did a walkout. And I was like, I really don't want to do this. I was feeling so embarrassed. Then we all sat on the stairs of that ice cream parlor, all my aunts, uncles, led by my dad. And then my dad like called that guy outside and said, okay, now I want to do a takeout. Like bring the brick to me. And they actually brought it. And we ate it there. With all our plates, we all ate it there and we sent it. So, but it was a very nice time, the best year of my elementary school days. And I would say really like a flamboyant life that I very much like enjoy, and I cherish that. There are some more memories, like random memories from this, and one important memory that I'd like to share. So I'll continue my next episode in 8.5, I guess. Bye.